Now, the man in white is the captain. He is known only as Bathurst, followed by more lieutenants, purple, green, and gold, justice, faith, and power. And here is James J. Reese III, resplendent in tunic, tights, and wig, greeting his subjects. Hail Rex! Okay, next.
You said my name.
Next is His Majesty's bandwagon. Among the riders, I'm told, is John Georges, who owns this newspaper where I'm sitting. Traditional float. Richard Rowe in Deutschland, thank you for your message.
And Tim Edwards from Pittsburgh, watching from Pittsburgh.
Tina Edwards.
Tim Edwards.
Ken Edwards, I'm sorry. Ken Edwards.
Homesick.
Bless your heart. Wish you were here. Okay, here come the King's Jesters. And again, more purple, green, and gold. It's a traditional float. Some of the oldest in parade were sculpted by artists in Via Reggio, which has its own carnival tradition, which inspired moving figures you'll see later on. It's fatted ox. It's symbolic of the last meat to be eaten before the 40 days of fasting of Lent. In the early years of the Rex Parade, there was a real ox decorated with garlands in the parade. That stopped. The Boeuf Gras returned in 1959 as a papier-mâché sculpture. The Rex Ball. It became introduced as a float in 2012. Next comes Louisiana Tech University, proclaiming the theme of Rex's sesquicentennial, or 150th birthday. Next comes If Ever I Cease to Love, which is the nonsense theme song of the Rex organization. The moon symbolizes one of the verses, may the moon turn to green, green cheese if ever I cease to love. Next come walking figures from Via Reggio, Italy. Via Reggio inspired these figures. This is a new addition to the parade. It won the Pulitzer Prize, the first of two. It went to Tennessee Williams.
frogs.
I want a frog. Okay, here comes the theme, explore the history of the Roman Empire with float titles including Octavian's Triumph and Timur the Tartar. Ooh, metal cups, yes. Parade. Laura Wickstrom, the float Rex artist, filled float after float with glorious floral creations. Original titles included Lily, Daisy, and the Fairies of Home, reference to a fairy garden which is repeated on this float.
Alright, look in the bag.
Ooh. Yes. Next comes Chronicles of Fairyland from 1895. Fergus Hume, a New Zealander and prolific writer, published a collection of fairy tales titled Chronicles of Fairyland, Fantastic Tales from Young and Old, from which Rex drew for this parade. Floats included The Giant Dunderhead and Revelries of Titania's Court.
Alright. One per float.
What? Notice how the stars wobble. The next float's theme from 1904 is In the Realm of Imagination. Titles in that year's parade included Veil of Stars, Season of the Feathered Songsters, and A Bower of Pearls. This floats aggregates figures from two designs, Festival of the Fairies and Dance of the Demons. One wonders how it would have turned out. Following close behind, from 1910 is the theme Freaks of Fable. No, beg your pardon, this is from Designed. Other titles in this float include the Midgard Serpent, the Seahorses, the Ogre, and the Centaurs, Cerberus, the three-headed dog guarding the gates of Hades, and the Unicorn. I myself am quite fond of the dragon, who looks pretty fierce. See how the dragon slobbers? Happy Mardi Gras. In our time travel, we've moved up to 1913, Enchantments and Transformations. Zanola Bauer Alexander designed this parade with floats including Arachne the Spider and the Sleep of Endymion. This float is Daphne and the Laurel Tree. Depicts the transformation of the nymph Daphne into a laurel to help her escape the. Next up, this is Fragments of Song and Story, picturing a woman sitting in a howdah, which usually put at the top of an elephant. Followed closely by Romances of River and Valley from 1922. Titles of Marriage of the River and the Valley, The Trapper's Song, The Prairie Schooner, and Searching for Gold. This float is inspired by a float called The River's Birth, BIRTH. We jump ahead to 1981, Ars Poetica. No, I'm sorry, 1970, beg your pardon. The Jewels of Rex. Nice Egyptian motifs here. Including the Sphinx and columns, Harriet. Next, from 1938, Realms of Sea, Earth, Sea, and Air. comes Ars Poetica from 1981. The celebrated poets through the ages. Poems such as the Iliad, Charge of the Light Brigade, and Ode to a Grecian Urn. The inspiration from this float, you can see, is the great poet William Blake. From his painting, Ancient of Days. I get happy.
I don't know if you wanted to use umbrella as well. It comes
Next is Nature's Royalty from 1985. Matching birds and beasts with titles like Emperor Penguin, King Cobra, Imperial Dragon, Queen Bee, and Monarch Butterfly. Monarch Butterflies dominate this float. One of the earliest parades designed by Henri Schindler, who was still turning out Beauty in Motion for the Rex organization. Float depicts the Pavilion of Heavenly Fragrance. This charted Chinese history over 5,000 years. It was the period just 6 months before Hurricane Katrina transformed everything. I misspoke. The previous theme was Winged World 2004. This is Visions of Age-Old Cathay in 2005. Cathay being what we used to call China. Next up, the Sceptered Aisle, which was the theme in 2011, with the jowly Henry VIII, he of the 6 wives, and the title comes from a line from Shakespeare's Richard III. The Royal Throne of Kings, the Sceptered Isle, this England. Here is the float paying tribute to the artists of the School of Design who have created these rolling tableaus for the past 150 years. Charles Britton, Bor Rickstrom, and Camilla before World War I, and since then George Soleil and his firm, most recently Henri Schindler. Hats off to them for creating mobile art.
It's an extreme sport.
Next up is the Royal Barge, reminiscent of a Viking ship. This is a perennial float with the Royal Griffin, that's Gryphon, up front. It's the last remnant of the Royal Navy, once a feature of each Rex parade.
Any interest?
150 years, yes. Wow. Look up ahead. The Court Jester. Edition. This multicolored edition is a new member of the Rex Parade with all these balloons. It's just wonderful, and the color is wonderful. The colors are wonderful. is just really an explosion of color. Gorgeous to behold. Now comes the boll weevil bust from Memphis. This is an element of the Memphis Carnival celebration. Celebration gave birth to the Maid of Cotton. It's the first appearance of the boll weevils in this parade. Welcome, weevils. Go, weevils! And this is the calliope.
Right next door to New Orleans is Jefferson Parish.